นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ Hello everyone. Today I do the Dhamma session for the Mahavanatutanka from Thailand. Okay, this is actually gonna be the first live session that I do for the Facebook Mahavana Dhamma Sanctuary and also for the YouTube Mahavana Dhamma. Okay, today we're gonna discuss the middle discourse MN number 75. We're gonna discuss, from the middle discourse number 75, there's the renowned saying of the Blessed One that freedom from disease is the ultimate blessing. But many people, interpret freedom from disease or health. They like mistakenly interpret that it's gonna be like health, like physical strength. That is the ultimate blessing, that you are healthy and you're gonna have the best blessing. But it's not like that. So here in this sutra, we're gonna explore more about the freedom from disease, what kind of disease that the Buddha referred to. Okay. Good afternoon from Ireland, Jim McCarty. Thank you so much for staying tuned. And hello, Maria. Good to see you here. So, okay, let's start. This is from the middle discourse, number 75. So, the middle discourse is the middle length discourse, so it's going to be quite long actually. This is called Makhantiya Sutra. Makhantiya, he is the Paripashika. Paripashika is the wanderer or someone who has, another belief, another cult or something like that, in the Buddha's era. His name is Makhantiya. This is from the translation of Bhikkhu Poti. I have attached the links for you so you can read it through with me. Okay. So I'm gonna read and then gonna explain later, and then gonna have like question and answer later on. Thus I have heard, on one occasion the Blessed One was living in Guru country, where there was a child of the Guru named Kammasatthamma. On a spread of grass in the fire chamber of a Brahmin belonging to Paratavasha clan. Then it was morning. The Blessed One dressed, and taking his bow and outer robe, went to Kammasatthamma for alms. When he had wandered for alms in Kammasatthamma and had returned from his alms round, after his meal he went to a certain grove for the day's abiding. Having entered the grove, he sat down at the root of a tree for a day's abiding. In the commentary here, there's the teacher, commentary teacher explained that it's actually the Buddha's intention to come to give a teaching to Makhantiya, because he know that Makhantiya, after listening to this, he's gonna reach the Sotapanna. He's gonna be one of the noble disciple, the first level Sotapanna, and after that he's gonna ordain and he's gonna reach Arahantship or Nirvana. But in the afternoon, in the fire chamber of the Brahmin, it's gonna be kind of noisy. So the Buddha entered to the grove and then sat down at the root of a tree, wait until the wanderer Makhantiya arrived and then give a teaching. But for the wanderer Makantiya. At that time, when he went to the fire chamber of the Brahmin belonged to the Paratavasa clan, he saw a spread of grass prepared and asked the Brahmin, "For whom has this spread of grass been prepared in Master Parashawata fire chamber? It seems like it might be for recluse bed." And then the Brahmin answered, "It belongs to the son of the it belongs to the Kotama, the hermit, the but not the hermit, the recluse, right? Kotama, the son of the Sakayan, who went forth from Sakayan clan. Now a good report of Master Kotama has been spread to this effect, that Blessed One is accomplished, fully enlightened, perfect in true knowledge and conduct, sublime, knower of the worlds, incomparable, leaders of person to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, enlightened, blessed." So this is gonna be like the whole paragraph that in respect to the Buddha, the Blessed One. In Pali, Itipiso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho. When we pay respect, we pay homage to the Buddha, and we chant Itipiso Bhagava. So this is like the translation of that paragraph. But normally people gonna praise, gonna have respect to the Buddha, but that wanderer Makantiya said, "Oh, this is an ill sight we see when we see the bed of that destroyer of growth. This is an ill sight. It's like the bad side. I don't want to see it." Yeah, the commentary explained that the wanderer Makantiya appears outraged at the presence of the Buddha, since the Buddha opposed sensual enjoyment and is opposed to the wanderer's belief. The wanderer Paripashika Makantiya, they have the belief from their teacher that I should see something beautiful, ear should listen to something beautiful, and you should smell something nice, you should taste something nice, you should have enjoy life, enjoy the sensual pleasures. So when people say that, "Oh, the Buddha said that you should not enjoy the sensual pleasure," it's the bad thing. So the wanderer Makantiya said like, "Oh, when I see the bed of the Buddha, that is the ill sight. I don't like him." And he called the Buddha a destroyer of growth, destroyer of good things, right? And then the Brahmin said, "Don't say that. Be careful what you say, Makantiya. Be careful of what you say. Many nobles, Brahmin, householder, recluse have full confidence in Master Kotama and have been disciplined by him in a noble, true way, in the Dhamma that is wholesome." But the wanderer Makantiya said, "No, I don't care. I'm gonna tell him to his face that he is the destroyer of growth, because it's I've learned from my teachers like this," and he opposed to it. After that, I don't gonna read it through because it's quite long. You can read by yourself. And then after that, the Buddha, he can hear the conversation of the Brahmin and of the wanderer with his divine ear. And then he came back, and then he greeted the Brahmin, and he just I know the whole story now. Okay, and now I'm gonna talk with the wanderer Makantiya. At that time, the Brahmin, he was like, he was kind of shocked that Master Kotama knows everything, something like that. And after that, the Buddha gonna talk with the wanderer Makantiya. So this is like the introduction to the whole discourse. The introduction that Now we learn that the wanderer Makhantiya is he has another belief. He has a belief that I should see something beautiful. We should enjoy the sensual pleasure. We should enjoy life. But the teachings of the Buddha opposed to that. After the Buddha met with the wanderer Makhantiya, the Buddha said, Makhantiya, the eye delights in form, take delights in form, rejoice in forms. The ear delights in sound, as well as the nose delights in odors, the tongue delights in flavors, the body delights in tangibles, the mind delights in my objects. Take delight and rejoice in that thing that have been tamed, you know, the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind have been tamed by Tathagata or the Blessed One, guarded, protected, and restrained. And he teaches the Dhamma for their restraint. Was it with reference to this that you said the recluse Gotama is a destroyer of growth? And the wanderer said, yes, it was with this reference to this, the Buddha. So the wanderer called the Buddha the destroyer of growth because it's opposed to the scripture. So here you can learn that the Buddha said, the eye delights in form. Normally, eye does not feel anything, right? But because we have eye, we have, there is forms, there are forms out there, and the consciousness, the mind, to know. But normally, we take delights in beautiful thing, something that likable, something that is pleasant. Pleasant forms, pleasant sounds, pleasant odors, pleasant flavors, pleasant tangible touch, pleasant thing to think of, pleasant memory, something like that. We take delight in it and we rejoice in it. But the Buddha said it's something that the Buddha taught people to protect, to guard, to restrain. Why? Because if we take delight in sensual pleasure, we're gonna, automatically cling on to that. And when we cling on to something, that is the cause of suffering. That is the reason why the Buddha taught people to protect, to guard, to restrain the sense door, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind that we have listened a lot, from the Buddha's teaching, right? Next, when, this is like the first time. After this, you will notice like how the Buddha bit by bit, teach and, deliver his teaching. Not directly like, okay, come, sit, listen to me. Not like that. But he just gonna ask like, okay, now listen to this. Gonna ask and then, okay, what do you think? What is your idea? What is your opinion? And then, bit by bit, explain. Okay. And now the Buddha said, what do you think, Makhantiya? Okay, now what do you think? Tell me your opinion. Here, someone may have formerly, previously, enjoyed himself with forms cognizable by the eye. Someone may have formerly enjoyed himself with sounds cognizable by the ear, with odors cognizable by the nose, flavors cognizable by the tongue, tangible cognizable by the body, that are wished for, desired, agreeable, and likable, connected with sensual desire and provocative of lust. See, things that we, enjoy, that we wish for, desire, agreeable, likable, connected, linked with the sensual desire and provocative of lust. On a later occasion, having understood as they actually are the origin, the disappearance, the gratification, the danger, and the escape in the case of forms, of sounds, odors, flavors, tangibles, of all the sensual desire. He might abandon craving for that thing, remove fever for that thing, and abide without thirst, with the mind inwardly at peace. What do you say? What would you say? And then the wonder, Makantiya say nothing. He says like, okay, nothing. Since it's like the long discourse and I don't do the presentation for everything, so I just have to, find. But anyway, you know, someone someone may have previously enjoyed themselves with the sensual pleasure, but later on, having understood with the right knowledge, with the right insight that, okay, there's the origin, how it creates, and then disappearance, gonna disappear. The gratification, the danger, it also had the danger of the sensual pleasure, and the escape, how to, abandon it. He might abandon the craving, remove fever, abide without thirst, and with the mind inwardly at peace. What would you say about that person? The wanderer Makantiya said, nothing. He might have nothing to say, right? And then the Buddha asks again, what do you think, Makantiya? Okay. Here, someone may have previously enjoyed himself with the sensual pleasures. On a later occasion, having understood as they actually are the origin, disappearance, gratification, danger, and the escape. And hang on, and remove everything, abide without thirst. What do you think of this person? And again, the Makantiya said, nothing. I have nothing to say. Then after that, the Buddha talked about himself, the Buddha's life, that Makantiya previously, when I live the lay people life, the home life, I enjoy myself, provided and endowed with the five causes of sensual pleasures, with form, sound, odors, flavor, tangible body that are wished for, desired, agreeable, likable, connected with sensual desire, and provocative of lust. I had 3 palaces, one for the rainy season, one for the winter, and one for summer. I lived in the rain palace for the 4 months of the rainy season, enjoying myself with musicians, none of whom were men, all women, and I did not go down to the lower palace. Later on, having understood as they actually are, all the sensual pleasure, the origin, disappearance, the gratification, the danger, the escape, in the case of sensual pleasures, I abandon craving for sensual pleasure. The Buddha abandoned craving for sensual pleasure. I remove fear for sensual pleasure, and I abide without thirst with the mind inwardly at peace. I see other beings who are not free from lust for sensual pleasures being devoured by craving for sensual pleasures, burning with fever for sensual pleasure, indulging in sensual pleasure, and I do not envy them, nor do I delight therein. Why is that? Because there is a delight apart from sensual pleasure, apart from unwholesome states, which surpasses even divine bliss. Since I take delight in that, I do not envy what is inferior, nor do I delight therein. So this you're gonna learn that, oh, now I see that the Buddha explained his previous experience that, you know, I was the one who endowed with all the enjoyment in the sensual pleasure. I have even three palaces for rainy season, winter season, and the summer season. And I was surrounded all the musician by the musician, women only. You know, I take that pleasure, but still, when I see someone who have not, free themselves from lust, have not freed themselves from the sensual desire, I don't envy that person. Why? Because I now experience the delight that is free from sensual pleasure, apart from unwholesome state, which surpasses even divine bliss. I take delight in that, so I do not envy what is inferior. So now you know that, okay, there is the happiness that is inferior and superior. After that, the Buddha gave an example to the wanderer Makanthiya. The Buddha said, suppose Makanthiya, a householder or a householder's son was rich with great wealth and property, and being provided and endowed with the five causes of sensual pleasures, he might enjoy himself with form, sounds, odors, flavor, tangible, that are wished for, desired, agreeable, likable, connected with sensual desire, well in body, speech, and mind. After death, he might reappear in the happy destination, in the heavenly world, you know, accompanied with all the gods. Here, Tawatingsa, the heaven called Tawatingsa, endowed with the sensual pleasure which is divine, because he now reborn in the heaven realm. Suppose that God, that angel, saw a householder or a householder's son enjoying himself, surrounding himself, endowing himself with the human sensual pleasure. Would the God envy the human? No. The Buddha asked the Makanthiya, and Makanthiya said, no. Why not? Because divine sensual pleasures are more excellent and sublime than human sensual pleasures. So what we experience now is the human sensual pleasures, right? But it's considered inferior to the divine sensual pleasure. Then the Buddha proceed. So too, Makanthiya, formerly when I lived the home life, I enjoy that. But now I don't envy people who surround themselves with the sensual pleasure that is not only the human sensual pleasures, not only the divine sensual pleasure. Why? Because I take delight in happiness that is free from sensual pleasure. Next, this is the next part. The Buddha will compare the sensual pleasures to people leprosy with a disease. Okay, the Buddha said, suppose Makanthiya, there was a leper with sores and blisters on his limbs, being devoured by worms, scratching the scab off the opening of his wound with his nails, cauterizing his body over a burning charcoal pit. Because here they said that people with the leprosy, um, because it's very itchy, right? And so they have to, like cauterizing the body with the burning fire, with the burning charcoal pit. Suppose there's a leper with that condition, then his friends and companions, his kinsmen and relatives would bring a physician to treat him. The doctor would make medicine for him, and because of that, he is cured with his leprosy and will become well and happy, independent, master of himself, able to go where he likes. He's free now. Then he might see another leper with sore and blister on his limb, being devoured by worms, scratching the scab off the opening of his wound with his nails, cauterizing his body over a burning charcoal pit. What do you think, Makantiya? Would that man who is now healthy, who is now free from leprosy, envy that leper for his burning charcoal pit or his use of medicine? Makantiya said, "No, Master Kotama." Why is that? Because when there is sickness, there is need for medicine. When there is no sickness, there is no need for medicine. This is the paragraph, this is like the phrases that I personally like. Because when there is sickness, there is need for medicine. When there is no sickness, there is no need for medicine. This is gonna link to the renowned saying that once people attain arahantship, attain the nirvana, he said that there is no more things for me to do. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have to do the ordinary activities, like they don't have to clean the house or something like that, they don't have to clean the monastery. It's not like that. But for people who reach nirvana, arahantship, there is no more kilesa, no more unwholesome states, no more hatred, greed, and delusion to destroy, to abandon. So it's just like someone who has no sickness. So there is no more for medicine. He's now pure. He's now enlightened. But as we have not reached the arahantship, we have not reached the nirvana, there is still sickness. There is still the need for medicine. We have to practice. We have to listen to the Dhamma and practice. It's just like Dhamma is like the medicine for us. So here, when we talk about the disease, the sickness, it's not about the health here. You might be sick physically, mentally, but it's not the sickness that the Buddha referred to in this sutra. Okay? Next. The Buddha said, Makantiya, suppose there was a leper with sores and blister on his limbs, being devoured by worms, scratching the scab off the opening of his wound with his nails, cauterizing his body over a burning charcoal pit. Then his friends and companions, his kinsmen and relatives, brought a doctor to treat him. The doctor would make medicine for him, and by means of that medicine, the man would be cured of his leprosy and would become well and happy, independent, master of himself, able to go where he likes. Then two strong men would seize him by both arms and drag him toward a burning charcoal pit. There are two strong men drag him back to the charcoal pit, to the burning fire again. What do you think, Makantiya? Would that man twist his body this way and that, like struggle, trying to, um, go loose, like let loose of these two strong men? Makantiya said, yes, Master Kotama. Why is that? Because that fire that charcoal pit, that fire, is indeed painful to touch, hot and scorching, right? Fire is painful to touch, hot and scorching. The Buddha said, what do you think, Makhantiya? Is it only now that the fire is painful to touch, hot, or is the same previously? In the past, the fire is painful to touch, right? Makhantiya said, Master Kotama, that fire is now painful to touch and hot. Previously too, that fire was painful to touch and hot. For when that man was a leper with sores and blisters on his limbs, though the fire was actually painful to touch, he acquired a mistaken perception of it as pleasant. Actually, it's not only that in the present time that the fire is painful to touch. In the past, previously as well, the fire still is the fact that the fire is hot, right? But the man with the leprosy, he had the mistaken perception of the fire as pleasant. Why? When we have become very itchy, right? And then when you have your experience, when you got bitten by the mosquito, when the mosquito bite you and you itchy, right? And then after that, suddenly the dog bites you. Of course, you're gonna the greater pain. It's gonna bring you to the greater pain, right? You're gonna know the pain when the dog bit you, and the area that the mosquito bit you, you don't feel that thing anymore because the consciousness, the mind, gonna go to where the greater sensation arise. It's just the same thing. The man with the leper, he see the fire as pleasant because why? The fire, even though it's hot, but it can help, his condition with the itchy, with the, he was devoured by worms, things like that. So he take pleasure in fire pit. So he has the mistaken perception of something that is actually painful as pleasant. This is called delusion. Because of avisha, because of delusion, ignorance, we think of something that is actually painful, but we mistaken perceive it as pleasant. This is something that we have to, contemplate, that is it really good? Is it really the real happiness? When we try to find, delicious food to eat, we have to take the long queue to wait to, have a dinner in that famous restaurant. Is it the real happiness? Why is not the real happiness? Because it's just the glimpse of it. You take just the glimpse of it. It does not last long. And it creates the yearning. The more you have, the more you crave. I want more, I want more, I want more. I want to taste something different. Okay, this restaurant, maybe the next restaurant may be better. Okay, maybe next place, maybe next country. And the next, the more you get it, the more you want it. And this is called tanha, never ending craving. Because it's actually not a pleasant thing, but you mistaken perceive it as pleasant. It's actually transient, but you mistaken perceive it as, everlasting or something like that. Hello, Dharma learner. Good to see you here. Okay. Next, I have to find the text. So too, the Buddha says, so too, Makantiya, in the past, sensual pleasure were painful to touch, hot and scorching. In the future, sensual pleasure will be painful to touch, hot and scorching. And now, at present, sensual pleasures are painful to touch, hot and scorching. But these beings who are not free from lust for sensual pleasure, who are devoured by craving for sensual pleasure, who burn with fever for sensual pleasure, have faculties that are impaired. Thus, those sensual pleasures are actually painful to touch. They acquire a mistaken perception of them as pleasant. So here the Buddha, compare the sensual pleasure as the fire, right? And if you notice the words that the Buddha used, devoured by craving. Am I devoured by craving now? Am I controlled by desire now? Then the Buddha used the word burn with fever for sensual pleasure. Am I burning with desire? Normally we are endowed, we are surrounded by the craving for sensual pleasures, right? Want to see something beautiful. I want to see something nice. I want to smell something, nice. I want to experience something new. And when we want something, if you notice, it's actually just like you burning with desire. Like the Buddha used the word, burn with fever. It makes you, striking, right? I want that. I want new phone. I want to touch the new iPad. I want a new thing. I want a new gadget. I want that. And when you want it, it's not the calm, cool state of mind. It's not peaceful, right? It's like burning with desire. So if you pay attention to the words that the Buddha used, you see like it's actually the truth. So when you're burning with desire, next time that you're burning with desire, just ask yourself, oh now I get it. This is the burning with desire. Now I'm burning with desire. Is it good or bad? It's actually bad thing, unwholesome state. This is the cause of suffering. And if I want the new iPad, and next year I'm gonna want the new iPad again, the newer and newer, the higher, the faster, something like that, the more you want. So now, it doesn't mean that, oh, you don't have to want anything in this world. It's not like that. You just know what is appropriate, or maybe, what's the word? What's the word? Enough for you. You know what, this is enough for me, something like that. The necessity, you just take what is necessity for you. Okay? And after that, I'm gonna skip because it's kind of long now. And then the Buddha compared with the king. The Buddha asked the wanderer Makantiya that, what do you think, Makantiya? Have you ever seen or heard of a king enjoying himself, provided and endowed with the 5 causes of sensual pleasure, who, without abandoning craving for sensual pleasure without removing fever for sensual pleasure, was able to abide free from thirst with a mind inwardly at peace, or who is able or who will be able to so abide. Like, now have you experienced, have you seen, or have you heard the king who still endow himself with a sensual pleasure but say that I'm free from thirst, I'm free from hunger, my mind is at peace. Now, in the past and in the future, have you heard, have you seen? The Makantiya said, no, Master Kotama. The Buddha said, good, Makantiya. I too have never seen, have never heard of the king, who still endow himself with the five sensual pleasure and declare that um, I can abandon the thirst or hunger in the sensual pleasure, and my mind is at peace. I've never heard of that person. I have never seen that person. On the contrary, Makantiya, those recluses or Brahmins who abide in the past, at the present, and will abide in the future, free from thirst, with a mind inwardly at peace, all do so after having understood as they actually are what the origin, the disappearance, the gratification, the danger, and the escape in case of sensual pleasure. And it is after abandoning craving, removing fever for sensual pleasure, that they abide in the past, in the present, and in the future. He is at last free from thirst, with the mind inwardly at peace. Then the Buddha utter this exclamation, which is very famous. The Buddha said, freedom from disease is the ultimate blessing. Nibbana is the greatest bliss. The Eightfold Path is the best of paths, for it leads safely to the deathless. Deathless or amata dhamma. Amata means deathless, no more death. No more death, no more birth, no more death. This is nirvana. Amata or deathless is another synonym, another word for the nirvana. So this is from the topic that we will discuss, right? That you said that we would discuss. Freedom from disease is the ultimate blessing. But people mistaken the word freedom from disease that, okay, now I'm healthy. My body is healthy. My body is strong, free from any disease. So I got the ultimate blessing. But it's actually not the right interpretation. Of course, if you are healthy, then you can practice, and this is considered the blessing. You can, yeah, it's correct in a way that is good for that you have the strong and healthy body, right? But it's not the ultimate blessing. The ultimate blessing, the Buddha said, is freedom from disease. If you listen from the start to this point, now you know that the disease that the Buddha referred to is the no more craving for the sensual pleasure. Disease here is the sensual pleasure, not the sensual pleasure, the sensual desire. The sensual desire is one of the cause of suffering. There's the three types of desire, right? Sensual desire, desire to become, and the last one is to not become or to not have. Kama tanha, bhava tanha, and vibhava tanha. So here, freedom from disease is to free from the cause of suffering, free from sensual desire, is the ultimate blessing. Why? If you are healthy and strong, but if you do something like the bad deeds, if you still um, have the unwholesome qualities, then it does not consider the ultimate blessing, right? You still do something wrong, and then you might go to the unpleasant destination after death. So it's not ultimate blessing. If even though you're sick, even though you have many disease right now, but you're free from sensual desire eventually. If you're free from sensual desire, it's the ultimate blessing because you are at peace inside. Nibbana is the greatest bliss, is the greatest happiness, is the utmost happiness. The Eightfold Path is the best of paths. Why? Because it leads to nirvana, leads safety to the tasteless. So actually, this is can study of the Four Noble Truths. Actually, here you can study the Four Noble Truths, right? Of course, there is suffering. The cause of suffering is the disease, the desire, craving. Freedom from disease, the end of suffering, cessation of suffering, nirvana. Nirvana is the utmost happiness, supreme happiness. How to reach it? Eightfold Path, the Fourth Noble Truth. So this is like actually can categorize, and it's just like now that we learn the Four Noble Truths. Okay. After that, I'm gonna skip the part that he talked about the teacher, right? And then here, this is the evidence that the Buddha does not talk about the body. Why? Because when the Buddha said, okay, arokaya paramalabha, arokaya, like the health, freedom from disease, arokaya paramalabha is the Pali language. The freedom from disease, the Makhantiya, the wanderer Makhantiya, he touched himself, he touched his body, and he said, this is the health, Master Kotama, this is the Nibbana. Why? Because he said that, for I am now healthy and happy and nothing afflicts me. And then the Buddha said, no. Why? Because the body is, this is the problem with like the long discourse, and I haven't well prepared. Sorry for that. The Buddha said, like, the body is full of, it's just like disease. The Buddha said, Makhantiya, this body is a disease, a tumor, a dart, a calamity, and an affliction. Referring to this body, you say this is that health, this is that nibbana. You do not have that noble vision, Makhantiya, by means of which you might know health and see nibbana. You don't know health, you don't see nibbana. You mistaken this body that actually a disease, the Buddha said. This body is a disease, a tumor, a dart, a calamity, and affliction. So if you interpret that freedom from disease is to be healthy physically, no, it's not like that, because the Buddha said, no, this body is the disease. But freedom from disease, arokaya, here is mean like the freedom from sensual desire. Okay? And then after that, Makhantiya said, Master Kotama, please teach me. Master Kotama is capable of teaching me the Dhamma in such a way that I can come to know health and to see Nibbana. He wants to know the real health, arokaya, that the Buddha, mentioned. And He wants to see Nibbana. But the Buddha said, no, it's sometimes when, just like when you are blind and someone cure you until you can see, but you don't, like if you cannot be cured, it's gonna be the burden from the doctor, right? And then here the Buddha would like to say, like, if I tell you and you don't understand, it's gonna be like the hardship of me to do so, something like that. And the Wanderer Makantaya still insists and still asks the Buddha to teach him. And then the Buddha said, okay, now Makantaya, this is how the Buddha said to teach to Makantaya how to know the health, arokaya, the freedom from disease, how to see Nibbana. This is what the Buddha said. Associate with true men. When you associate with true men or Pandita, the wise men, the true men, you will hear the true Dhamma. When you hear the true Dhamma, you will practice in accordance with the true Dhamma. This is what the Buddha taught to the Wanderer Makantaya. After, asked the Buddha several times, the Buddha said, okay, if you want to know the freedom from disease, if you want to see nirvana, nibbana, Makantaya, associate with true men, the wise men, Pandita. When you associate with true men, you will hear the true Dhamma. When you hear and when you listen to the true Dhamma, you will practice in accordance with that true Dhamma. When you practice in accordance with the true Dhamma, you will know and see for yourself these are diseases, tumors, and darts. But here, these disease, tumors, and darts cease without remainder. This is the word, know and see for yourself. So how to know and see for yourself? This is what I like in the Buddha's teaching. He does not say like, okay, come, listen to me, believe me. What I said, you have to believe in whatever I said. Trust in me, something like that. He does not say that. He did not say that. He said like, if you listen from the start, what do you think, Makantaya? What do you think, Makantaya? Compare and let that person, follow and then contemplate, think, and then there are factors for you to know and see for yourself. Associate with the wise men, wise people, someone who are Kalyana Mit, good friends, someone who is wiser than you, like a master, like a teacher. Associate, come to see them. Why? Because if you come to see them, you will hear the true Dhamma, the teachings of the Buddha. And once you listen to the teachings of the Buddha, you will practice according to that. You have to practice as well. You listen, but it's not enough. Listening is not enough. You have to practice as well. And after you practice, you will know and see for yourself that, okay, this is the disease and it can cease without remainder. This is the suffering and this is the end of suffering. You will see for yourself. With the cessation of the clinging comes the cessation of being. With the cessation of being, the cessation of birth. With the cessation of birth, aging and death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair cease. Such is the cessation of this whole mass of suffering. After that, after Makhantiya listened to everything that the Buddha said, he asked to ordain. But as he was the wanderer, someone who's from another belief, right? He have to practice and wait for 4 months after the Sangha said that okay, you can go forth, you can ordain, and then you have then after 4 months you can ordain, right? And after that, Makhantiya, after received the ordination, received the going forth under the Blessed One, soon, not long after his full admission, dwelling alone, withdrawn, diligent, ardent, and resolute, the venerable Makhantiya, by realizing for himself with direct knowledge here and now, enter upon and abided in the supreme goal of the holy life for the sake of which clansmen rightly go forth from the home life into homelessness. He directly know birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, what had to be done has been done, there is no more coming to any state of being. This is the end. This is the goal, the destination, nirvana. And Venerable Makhantiya became one of the arahants. Okay. So now, this is something that I would like to address. What had to be done has been done. Have you remember that we mentioned my favorite saying of the Buddha? Because when there is sickness, there is no need. There is need for medicine. When there is no sickness, there is no need for medicine. So when people, when the arahant claim that okay, what had to be done has been done, it's the same thing. As long as you still have the sickness, the sensual desire, still have the delusion, hatred, greed, you have to find the medicine to cure. You need to listen. You need to find the Kalyana Mitta, good friends, the teacher, the master who is wiser and can teach you. You need to listen to the Buddha's teaching. You need to practice in accordance to the Buddha's teaching. And then you practice more and more and more because you still need for medicine as long as there is sickness, the kilesa, unwholesome state. But after you reach the arahantship, what had to be done has been done. I have accomplished, I have, reached the destination. That's it. I don't have to be cured. I'm well and happy now. I'm healthy now. No need for any medicine. No more sickness. Okay? So sickness, disease here is associated with sensual pleasure, with the sensual desire, with kilesa, unwholesome qualities, with hatred, greed, and delusion. So next time that you, listen to this um, saying of the Buddha, freedom from disease is the ultimate blessing. Now you understand that, okay, the disease is the lust for sensual pleasure, that being devoured by craving for sensual pleasure, the burning with fever for sensual pleasure, indulging with sensual pleasure. If you can free from that, it's the ultimate blessing. Nibbana is the greatest bliss. The Eightfold Path is the best of paths, for it leads safely to the deathless. And this is the end of our Dhamma session today. Any question regarding this sutra? John said, the Buddha always turns out to be right in the end, no matter how many times I've thought that he is wrong. That is so true. You know, everyone experienced the same thing, right? We experience like, okay, just like me, when I was the late woman, I try to seek the sensual pleasure. I want that thing and I need to have that. I need to, you know, I want to go abroad. I want to see something different. I want to see something new, something that I wish for, something that is likable, that is pleasant for me. I used to think of the sensual pleasure as pleasant because we have mistakenly perceived that as pleasant, right? But it's like the charcoal pit, the fire. It's painful, it's transient, but you think of it as oh pleasant, and you try to seek, you try to get it, but the more you get it, the more you want, right? It's just like mobile phone is just something that in the past, the gadget, I love the new gadget. Oh, this year, new one. Okay, I'm gonna buy. Oh, next year, another updated version. Oh, I need to buy that as well. Oh, the newer version, faster, new gadget. I need to get it. I need to get it and have to, it doesn't, um, and the more I have it, it doesn't feel full inside. The more I travel, of course, it's good. It's the good memory. I take pleasure, I take delight in it. But it's just the memory that transient. It's not gonna last long. But it creates the craving, the yearning more and more and more. But now, when you, like for me, I'm not free from sensual desire. I'm not the arahant type, right? I'm not the arahant. But the more you follow the Buddha's teaching, you can train yourself to, doesn't take that much enjoyment in the sensual pleasure. So it's like you not devour, you not, the less burning inside, the less disease inside the mind. And then you feel more peaceful. You feel more like relaxed. That I don't, like fight this and this and that and this and that, and it's just like it's so tired. It's so tiring, and you feel very tired of um, to satisfy the hunger inside. I really like when I read the Buddha's the teaching that you know he used the word thirst, hunger, burn with fever, devoured by the sensual pleasure. With these words, it's just like, oh yeah, I remember that feeling. Maybe like 5 minutes ago, maybe like 2 days ago, that I was burning with fever of the sensual desire. It's not a good thing. Now I know. Now I experience. And then after that, you try, um, to kind of gradually detach from it, because you experience from yourself, like when you try to gradually detach from it, it's actually lighter. You become lighter. You become more, you have more freedom. Just like the Buddha um, compared to the man with leprosy, the leper man, right? That after he was cured from the leprosy, he, mm, hang on, After he was cured from the leprosy, the Buddha said he would become well, healthy, happy, independent, master of himself. He not a servant to the desire. He's not controlled by the desire. Right? Now today, am I the servant of the delusion? Am I being controlled by the desire all the time? Wanting to do this, wanting to do that. You need that thing, right? Then you have to work harder to get that thing. Am I a servant, the slave of the desire or not? Because if you free from the desire, you're going to be the master of yourself. And then be able to go where he lies, freedom, just like, free from unwholesome state. So this is actually the middle discourse, right? But actually very long. And I encourage you to read the whole thing, that you can, appreciate the intellect of the Buddha himself. Like, wow, he just like, okay, this person from another belief, right? Another sect, okay, I'm gonna, what do you think, Makantiya? What do you think, Makantiya? What do you think, Makantiya? And then after he's like softer, and then, listen more. And then, oh, now I get it. And then he eventually reached the nirvana himself. So, yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining into this session. This is actually the first one for the Mahawana Facebook and YouTube. So thank you very much for coming in and then listening together. That's it for today. I hope you contemplate on this, and then, yeah, take pleasure, take delight in the Buddha's teaching. Associate with the wise men, listen to the Buddha's teaching, the wise words, and then practice according to the teachings of the Buddha, because it's safe, it's the right way to the right liberation. That's it for today. Before we leave, let's say Sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, 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 Anumodhami. May you all be free from disease and reach the nirvana, the supreme happiness, the right liberation, the true liberation. Be safe and be well. See you in 15 days. Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.